Full transparency, this video is completely different to my usual videos. If you are here for the usual, hey, go do these 3 things to land clients, like the usual tactical stuff, this video is not for you. You can go and find those on my channel. This video though, and I do not say this lightly, genuinely, if you have the bandwidth and the patience to sit through this video, it potentially could change your life. I don't say it lightly. Like, I'm not one of these guru type people that fabricates things. Hopefully you can tell that from my vibe. So I'm just going to cut to the chase, okay? And bring you up to speed. Not sure how long you've been following me for, but basically over the past few years, I've generated 14 million pounds GBP, which is about 18, 19 million USD, I believe, for those of you in the US, which sounds amazing. But further than that, the important bit is more my life. So if you'd have told me 10, 15 years ago that I would be living as I do now, which is where I've got an amazing partner, I live in a really cool place, we travel when we want, I'm a huge supercar nerd and been fortunate to do the Formula One in Abu Dhabi every year for the past 5 years with my team, I would not have believed you. But it's all happened. And it's down to one thing. And I want you to bear with me, okay? And that one thing is basically just how I think. I just think differently to the average person, especially in the UK. And the reason that you shouldn't stop watching at this point is because if I told you that the number one reason that, you know, XYZ has happened is down to like sales technique or something, mastering sales, or getting in like the shape of my life and suddenly becoming like a walking billboard. Well, it's unlikely that watching a couple of YouTube videos is going to make you a sales expert overnight. It's unlikely that you're going to wake up out of bed in the morning looking like a Greek god or goddess, right? The cool thing is though, is that when it comes to mindset and how you think, that's something that you can change like that. You watch this video, I'm going to go through just a bunch of my biggest kind of mental models. Maybe not all of them land, but it will just take 1, 2, or 3 of them to change how you think entirely, which means that 6, 12, 18 months from now, 5 years, 10 years from now, I hope at some point you'll look back at this video and laugh and go, wow, that guy wasn't full of shit. Because you have the ability to just change how you think immediately. And it really is like the number one reason that all of this has happened. Before I do that, because I've listed X, Y, Z, you're probably sat here now thinking this sounds kind of interesting, but the guy sounds like an arrogant prick. I want to land the plane and just be really honest with you over my backstory. Now, there's no like living out of a dumpster type thing, but I want to go just step by step because maybe you'll resonate or have a couple of similarities here, which then will kind of tie everything together, okay? So first up, I want to talk through my parents. Firstly, both my sets of parents had split. None of my family are entrepreneurial. Nobody from great-grandparents to grandparents to parents, siblings, nobody in my business is entrepreneurial, okay? So nobody's given me this business insight at all. My dad works for British Airways as an airplane mechanic. My mum currently is a teaching assistant. Previously was in sort of like nursing and so on. My stepmom works for Elemis, the cosmetic company, like moisturizers, skin creams, and so on. My stepdad works in human resources. So all 4 of my parents are super normal. We did not live like a really poor lifestyle. As I said, I wasn't living out of dumpsters, but we definitely were not wealthy. We're just a typical UK family that would holiday once a year, you know, Spain, that sort of thing. And, you know, life was okay. Something I don't want to go too deep on because we've all got our own shit is that I did have a bit of an upbringing where both my dad and stepdad were physically abusive. My mum and dad split up pretty much because of it. And then my stepdad came on the scene. And again, pretty quickly, he was like heavy-handed. So I had all that to deal with. I ended up getting, you know, moved out of my mum's, had to go live with my dad and change schools and whatnot. So the point I'm trying to make is it wasn't like an ideal dream childhood that sometimes when you hear these stories of people that run businesses, you think, they were brought up with a silver spoon, their dad must have had a business and their dad's dad must have had a business. If you think back to the Victoria Beckham, David Beckham documentary of my dad had a Rolls Royce, my dad had a Ford Ranger pickup truck. So that's that, very average. School-wise, I was just the typical kid at school where in all the reports, it was always like, Adam has potential, but he's distracted. Adam has potential, but he winds up the class. I have 1 less GCSE than everybody else. I wasn't even allowed to sit my French GCSE. I was predicted just a combination of like D's and then U's. I think I managed to come out with like C's and D's. I didn't get a single B or anything like that. No A levels, no university, blah, 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 blah. School for me was just, again, like I would say below average, to be fair. I used to love sport, and something happened, which is where I had a leg condition. So I had to have a big double leg operation where I had both of my legs surgically broken, was in a wheelchair for 8 weeks. So I had to deal with that just as I was like really into playing rugby and football. That completely wiped me out, and that's kind of what led me onto the gym path. Next up is obviously, I come from the fitness space, the physique space and so on, where, let's be honest, it can be perceived to be a benefit if you are a guy that's like fucking 6'2", jacked and so on. I'm 5'6", and I like to claim 5'6 3/4, every little helps. So I'm not, this huge unit, this Greek god physique. Even when I was building, my fitness business, I was in good shape. I trained, I built some muscle tissue, but height has never been on my side. Next up, a couple of personality things. Number one is I'm known to everybody that knows me as I'm very quiet, I'm introverted, I don't network, I don't have huge groups of friends and people. I'm pretty quiet, to be honest. And then the final thing is there's a running joke, which is that I always say that I have the personality of a teaspoon. So you'll watch any of my videos, follow me on Instagram. I'm not the James Smith type of character that's super controversial, calls people out, really funny, quick-witted. That's not my style, okay? So the reason I go through this is hopefully there's one or two bits in there that you go, I've got that too, and I thought that was an Achilles heel. And I'm obviously here to show you that it's possible to still build a life that you want and a business that you want without needing all of your ducks in a row and having a few chinks in the armor, okay? So that's the backstory out the way. So I'm just gonna dive straight in each of these little mental models, and I'll just tell a short story behind it. And again, one of them might land, one of them might not. I hope by the time that you watch this, you think differently after this. And I wanna be honest, one of the reasons that I'm doing this video is because we have people apply to work with us to join us to help them build their businesses all the time. And we have people that are amazing prospects for us that we know we could crush it with. They've got great potential. They're super passionate about fitness and so on. They really, really, really want to do this. They can provide a better life for their family or for them to travel, and they just hold themselves back. Maybe you've done this previously, and I want this video to change that. Whether you ever decide to work with us or not is fine. It's irrelevant. I just want this video to change how you think so that going forwards, when these natural, normal thought processes kick in, you can hopefully catch yourself and then override it. So the first thing I want to talk about is this one. Quick story. When I was 17, I was in a relationship with a girl called Jade. And I remember us talking and I said, one day I want to have an Aston Martin. And she just laughed. And she was like, dude, you're cleaning treadmills basically in the gym. You earn 850, 900 quid a month. People like us don't drive those cars. And I just remember being genuinely curious. And I just said to her, why not? Somebody has to. Why can't it be me? And this theme came up years and years and years later when I took my parents to New York for Christmas. We were sat having a couple of drinks in the evening. And my dad and I were talking, and he was like, how have you managed to do all this? He goes you just go and get what you want. And I remember just being really kind of baffled by it and just going, as I said, when I see something cool, if I see somebody traveling business class or first class, I look at that and I go, that looks fun. Somebody has to do that. What have they done? Basically, that's the first thing, is being curious. And when you see certain things that people have or they do, instead of just doing the usual, oh, that's how the other half live. It's such British thinking. Or we don't live like that. It's overriding it and just going, well, fuck it. Aston Martin produces these cars for somebody. If I work hard enough, why can't it be me? And I literally said that to my partner at 17. And then here's the funny thing. I think it was at 26 or 27, my first sports supercar was an Aston Martin. And I remember just kind of getting in it and just big grin to myself. I literally said this 10 years ago when I was 17, somebody has to have it. Why can't it be me? Next up, what are they doing that I'm not? So I remember heading to the gym with one of my friends, and we were walking into the car park, and there was a blue Ferrari pulled up, at the side of the road. And the first thing my friend said was but they sell drugs. I just remember laughing, and he was like, no, of course, it won't be legit. They'll be either evading taxes or they'll be selling things or whatever. And then it turns out, when I trained a couple months later and I come across like the owner of it, turns out he was born to like an immigrant mum, moved to the UK. I think he was like one of like 6 or 7 siblings, and basically was full-time employed, took a risk, set up his own like IT consultancy business, and then just managed to like work his way up into landing big contracts and ended up doing huge numbers. And my point to this is the whole like, what are they doing that I'm not? Is I remember like the two of us, my friend and I, saw the blue Ferrari at the same time. One person defaults to, the only way that this guy could possibly have this car is because he's done something wrong, he's shafting people or whatever. I go to, what does this guy do? Like, what does he know that I don't know? Or what is he doing? Or what are like his like daily practices or mindset? Like, he's got to have some form of knowledge or experience that I don't yet have. How do I learn that? Third one is, this is a big one. What if it does work? I've invested into lots of mentors myself, so from super early on, and I still invest into mentors all the time. I would put it in the hundreds of thousands at this point. And again, I remember talking to my dad, and he's like, how do you know this person's not just a scam? The usual way of thinking. What if it doesn't work? And I'm like, but what if it does? Like, it's not that outlandish that watching this person that has been there and done what I would like to do can teach me back a few steps and just basically shortcut the process so that I don't make the mistakes. And again, I've been on calls with people that are looking to join us, and we've got somebody that's like the perfect fit. They could do so well and change their life. And they're on this Zoom call opposite me, and they're like, yeah, but just what if it doesn't work? Like, I'm just worried if it doesn't work. Well, you waste a little bit of time, but what if it does work? Because the alternative right now is you carry on in the job that you're in, earning the same amount, which is fine. But I guess the reason we're on this call is because you don't want that to be the case in 10, 15, 20 years. What if this does work out and everything that you have just told me that you want actually happens? Like, surely the upside is worth it. Like, the worst case scenario is you waste some time doing a program. You still learn a shed load, but the potential upside to change your life, to be able to travel when you want, put your kids into bed at night, give your kids the childhood that you probably didn't have, stay in the nicest hotels, if you're materialistic, be able to treat yourself or your partner to certain things. Surely that upside should massively override the small niggling little devil on the shoulder that's like, what if it doesn't work? Because that's just how everybody else thinks. Everybody else has an opportunity and they'll just go, it won't work for me. It must be a scam. But so-and-so's got this that I don't. Like all these limiting beliefs that maybe you watching this video have had at some point. And again, my job here is hopefully just to help you catch it and just go, yeah, fuck. Like, why do I think like that? Next, money isn't bad. This one came about from, I took an onboarding call with a guy into our program about 6 months ago. And on my call with him, I was like, dude, hit me with it. Like, what do you want to achieve? And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is like, well, I just, it's not all about the money. And, I'm happy to be realistic. Like, if I could just earn 2K. And I was like, man, like, delete just. Like, think big here. You really have the opportunity. You've seen so many people do crazy numbers that you couldn't even dream of. Don't play small. Like, nobody wins. Like, back yourself. And then he's like, yeah, but I'm not that motivated by money. I don't want to be rich. And again, I think maybe this is a British thing, but we hear the word rich, for example, or somebody's wealthy, and we look at it as like, it's disgusting. It's a bad thing. And I'm here to say, like, somebody being financially well off benefits everybody. Number one, the obvious, you have a better lifestyle. Does money buy happiness? Absolutely not. But it does buy freedom, right? It just gets you out of situations. If you go and ask ChatGPT right now, what's the number one cause of divorce in the UK? What's the number one reason most couples divorce? And at the top of the list is finances and financial stress. So straight away, you taking yourself out of that situation and earning money that you might smile and feel a bit silly at removes that from the table. So that's the immediate benefit is for you. It just relieves stress for you, your immediate family. The second thing is that you can then help other people. So whether it is your family, for example, my mum and stepdad had a big plumbing issue in their house. It was going to cost, I think it was like around £2,000. My mum was in tears, stressed. Sandy, my partner, and I were able to just transfer them, the £2,000 just to cover it and just remove it as a stress. The New York trip, for example, my parents had always wanted to do New York at Christmas. I was able to treat them to that and give them that memory. So number one is I've got the immediate benefit when I'm doing okay and removing stress from my life financially. Second is like my immediate family. Third is then helping people that you don't even know. For example, I remember being on Facebook, just in a usual scroll hole, and somebody had shared one of their friends, somebody I didn't know, who was either an electrician or a plumber, basically in the trade, and he put a photo of his work van, and it had been broken into, all of his tools stolen, and basically he was now completely out of work because somebody had stolen his tools. So he set up a little, the GoFundMe things, and set an amount to recoup his tools. People, of course, are doing their best, and they're donating, £10, £15, £20, and so on. I was able just to look at what he put in there, the value of his total tools, and I don't even know the guy. I put the donation anonymous. I don't do it to try and have people suddenly thank me. I did it completely anonymously. I was able to just donate, whatever the amount was, so that he could go and recoup his tools and get his business back on track. So that's me then having like an impact on somebody that I don't even know and they don't know me, but I've chosen to do it. And then the fourth one is the stuff that you don't even think about. For example, tipping, in restaurants, you're able to tip at higher rate. The fact that you'll pay higher taxes, I have a team of over 20 people. All of them earn money through my business, which then helps their families. When Sandy and I go out, as I said, we tip. The way that we travel, we might take like private transfers, which then keeps like one-man band chauffeurs and stuff in jobs versus just the public transport. Where I'm going with this is money isn't bad. Being wealthy, working hard, and earning more than you do now is not a bad thing. Like, it will change your life, but more importantly, it has a knock-on consequence to you paying more taxes, potentially hiring a team, being able to tip, being able to eat or have coffee in independent coffee shops that usually would be, too expensive or whatever. Helping your family, helping friends. Next one is, I've said this on recorded webinars since like 2018 through 2019, which is that my biggest fear is just drifting through life, waking up at 60 years old and going, how the fuck did I get here? And here's the scary thing. You're watching this, go and think about your parents, think about your grandparents, think about aunts, uncles, and just ask yourself, when they get out of bed in the morning, and this is really deep, when they get out of bed in the morning, do you think they get out of bed going like, I'm living life exactly on my terms. I chose to be here in this situation? My guess 9 times out of 10 is they didn't, because 90% of people just drift through life. They don't know where they want to go. They don't ever think about it. They don't think it's possible. They think it's pointless planning it or making themselves smile with the idea of being able to travel a certain way or take X amount of holidays or earn certain money or live in a certain place. They just don't think it's possible. So they just get their head down and they just clock in and clock out. Year after year, decade after decade, just building somebody else's business and not doing anything for themselves. And then they wake up at 50, 60, 70 and eventually probably have the realization of like, shit, if I could rewind and speak to my 15-year-old self or 20-year-old self, this is not how I'd imagine life to be. So just do that exercise. Just think about your parents. Maybe they are living an amazing life that they had dreamt of and planned and it was intentional, but most people just don't live with intentionality. Most people don't visualize where they want to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. So something I'm always conscious of, that I'm always trying to do is like, how do I want my next year to look? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? How do I want life to be? Where do I want to be living? How do I want to spend my day? Who do I want to spend it with? All of these sorts of things. Next one. Next level beliefs, huge. Tying back to those that are like, oh, but what if it doesn't work? I use this thing of, I call it next level beliefs, which is that if we think of Elon Musk, whether you like the guy or not, the guy is trying to colonize Mars. Nobody has ever done that before. It's highly unlikely because I believe the gravity is completely different. The composition of the air is completely different. It's not Earth, okay? It's like next to impossible. Lots of well-credited scientists laugh at it and say it is impossible. But Elon Musk truly has this next level belief that he is going to colonize Mars. And not only that, but he has an entire organization and business in SpaceX that all think the same thing. They're all on the same mission. They all believe this is going to happen. Now, the reframe, the contrast, is to you watching this video. I'm not asking you to colonize Mars. I'm just saying, if you want to earn 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 pounds online, have you ever seen another coach go and do that ahead of you? The answer is yes. Hundreds, thousands of them, right? We've worked with over 3,500 people at this point. We've got people in the program doing 5K months, 10K months, 20, 30, 40, 80, 100K months, and so on. So my point to you is you wondering about, like, can I just earn enough to leave my full-time job? Can I just hit 2.5K from online coaching? Can I just land those 5, 10 clients? Could I just do a 5,000 pound or a 10,000 pound month? That is not a next level belief. You're not colonizing Mars. You're not doing something that nobody else has ever done before. You're doing something that thousands of people have done again and again and again. And you just have to follow the same process. Final two, hopefully there's something useful in here. Inner thermostat. If you think of how an air conditioning system works, okay? Let's say you set the AC to 20 degrees. Now what happens is if the room is warm, the AC fans will kick in and they'll cool the room down to maybe 18 degrees. So they'll overshoot. So you want the room here, the room will cool down to about 18, the fans shut off, and then slowly the room temperature will rise. When it gets to, let's say, 22 degrees, so above this set point, the fans kick in and work like crazy again to lower the temperature, and then they'll switch off, and then the room temperature raises again until it gets a little bit too warm, then the fans kick in and they do this. And what I see time and time again is people, again, potentially you, having this same mindset with their finances. So what happens is we'll have like a set point of like what we consider to be too low, whether that's either what you earn in a month or if it's your bank balance. You've probably got a number in mind. When I dip below it, it's like panic stations a bit, have to work harder, maybe I do a bit of overtime or whatever. And then there's like an upper limit. And what tends to happen is when we start doing okay and our basic needs are met, meaning roof over our head, food on the table, maybe a little bit of money left over each month for some niceties, going to the cinema, going for meals out, the odd holiday once a year. As long as that's met, that inner thermostat kind of kicks in. Like we get comfortable, we don't work as hard, we don't challenge ourselves. We just keep our head down, we just keep doing the same thing. It's really easy to stay there. So what I try and get my students to do is override the inner thermostat, like raise the bar, basically, set bigger goals. Because what we see is people join us, they're like, I just want to get to 3K a month so I can quit my job. They do that, they get to like 3 or 4K, their basic needs are all met, and then they start taking their foot off the gas subconsciously, and they wonder why they hover at about the same income level. So it's really about overriding that and getting excited about like, right, basic needs are met, now what? Now, instead of just living, how do I like live an amazing freaking life that I didn't think possible? Think back to at the beginning when I said about my partner and I, we travel pretty much every month. So I'm recording this in January. In December, we went to London. We did an event for our students, and then we did like 5 days of Christmas shopping. We put my parents in a hotel as well. Then we came back, and 5 days later, we went to Abu Dhabi F1 and brought some of my team to it. Then we went from there to Maldives. Then we obviously had Christmas. And then right after Christmas, we went to France to go skiing. We loved skiing, so we come back. We've already booked to go again to the same resort in 6 weeks because we'd never done skiing before. So it's all about like, what's next? Like, this would be fun, and then just setting new goals and not getting comfortable. So you push yourself out of that inner thermostat where right now, if you like the idea of building your own business, being able to travel more, take holidays, earn more money, but your current job pays you well and okay, and nothing's bad, that's the danger spot, because you'll still be in that 10, 15, 20 years time, or until AI comes, takes your job and your boss fires you. Very last one, I think, which is that we basically have one shot on this Dust Bowl. So again, it's really easy to fall into normal thinking of like, I'm really lucky. I've got an okay paid job. I'm employed full time, bills are paid, roof's over my head, I've got an okay car on the drive, and that's fine, as long as you're aware that that is settling. Like, again, if we think back to that drifting through life, I just look at it as we have one shot on earth, one shot to play all out and to live life how you want. When you watch TV, when you go on Instagram and you see certain people living a certain way, traveling a certain way, living in an amazing place, having a certain car if that motivates you, wearing certain clothes, whatever it may be, whether you look at celebrities and so on. Sandy, my partner, has a girl crush on Victoria Beckham, for example. So when you look at these people, it's like, you can either just take the usual, oh, that's only for them, or you just go, I'm playing all out here. Like, they're living that lifestyle. Somebody's got to live it. Why can't I? I've got one shot on this dust ball. What's the worst that happens if I try and go after this? Nothing. I tried. But the upside is that I lived this amazing life that I didn't think possible. So it's really for you just to break free of that typical, again, I'm going to use the term like British mentality. Some of you US people watching this probably aren't going to resonate with much of this, but if you're British, you will. I know, because I'm surrounded with them, So anyway, that's the end of this video. It's a long one. It's like half an hour at this point. So I apologize. I hope that you've made it this far. There's no call to action. There's no click this button or anything like that. It's just a straight up, I hope you do something with this information. I hope it's not just been a load of waffle. You'll be surprised what you're capable of. You just have to override that little devil that brings you down, that tells you you can't have this. People like us don't live with this. Money is bad. It's not good to be rich. Everything else. So I'm rambling. I'm going to leave it here. Hope it's been useful. If it has, either just drop me a message on Instagram and let me know what your big goals are, or just drop a comment below, give me a thumbs up, like this was useful to watch. Let me know if more of this sort of content would be good. I'll waffle less next time.